Cody Rhodes destroys Drew McIntyre in a brutal assault at WWE Smackdown. Cody Rhodes just unleashed the most vicious and uncharacteristic assault in his entire WWE career by systematically destroying Drew McIntyre during Friday Night Smackdown in an attack so brutal and so personal that even hardcore wrestling fans are questioning whether the American Nightmare has finally snapped under the pressure of being WWE's top babyface and revealed a darker side of his personality that's been building beneath his heroic exterior for months. What Cody did to Drew wasn't the calculated aggression of a competitor trying to gain psychological advantage, this was personal rage unleashed without restraint or conscience, and the way Cody targeted specific injuries in vulnerable areas while ignoring pleas from officials and colleagues to stop has everyone wondering whether we just witnessed the beginning of Cody's transformation into something far more dangerous and morally compromised than the principled hero who finished his story. But here's what's going to absolutely shock you and make you question everything you thought you knew about Cody Rhodes' character. The assault on Drew McIntyre wasn't triggered by a wrestling rivalry or championship ambitions or any of the typical motivations that drive conflicts in WWE. According to multiple sources with knowledge of the situation, Cody attacked Drew because of something deeply personal that Drew said about Cody's father, Dusty Rhodes, during a heated backstage confrontation that wasn't meant to be heard by anyone else. What Drew said crossed a line that Cody couldn't ignore, and the American Nightmare's response was to throw away every principle about honor and sportsmanship that's defined his character and deliver punishment that was designed to hurt Drew not just physically but emotionally and psychologically in ways that would make him regret ever mentioning Dusty's name. The most disturbing part is how methodical and controlled Cody's brutality was throughout the assault. This wasn't a spontaneous explosion of anger where Cody lost control and acted on impulse. Every strike was deliberate, every move was calculated to cause maximum damage, and Cody's facial expression throughout the attack showed cold determination rather than hot rage. The American Nightmare knew exactly what he was doing, knew it was crossing lines he'd never crossed before, and did it anyway because whatever Drew said about his father triggered something in Cody that made consequences irrelevant compared to delivering the punishment he felt Drew deserved. And the reaction from WWE management, from other wrestlers, and from Cody's own allies has been a mixture of shock, concern, and in some cases grudging respect for someone finally showing that even the most principled people have limits that shouldn't be crossed. Multiple wrestlers have privately admitted they understand why Cody snapped even if they can't publicly condone the level of violence he used, and there's a growing sense that Drew McIntyre brought this on himself by attacking something sacred and thinking Cody would just absorb the disrespect like he's absorbed everything else thrown at him during his run as champion. The question that's tearing apart the WWE universe is this: can Cody Rhodes remain the heroic face of WWE after showing he's capable of this level of vicious retaliation, or has he permanently damaged his image by proving that his principles only apply until someone pushes him too far? Let me tell you exactly what Drew said that triggered this assault, how Cody's attack unfolded, and what this means for both men's futures. The confrontation between Cody and Drew that preceded the assault happened backstage earlier in the evening during what was supposed to be a routine face-to-face interview segment setup. Both men were scheduled to cut promos about their upcoming match, and the production team had arranged for them to cross paths in a hallway to create tension and build anticipation for their feud. The initial exchange was typical wrestling banter, both men talking about their respective abilities, their determination to win, and their belief that they represented what WWE should be about. But according to witnesses, the tone shifted dramatically when Drew made a comment that was supposed to be a casual reference to Cody's heritage but came across as far more disrespectful than Drew apparently intended. Drew said something along the lines of, "At least when I win championships, people don't spend the entire time wondering whether I earned it or just got it because of my last name and my daddy's legacy." The comment was meant to be psychological warfare about Cody's relationship with his father's legacy and whether he's proven himself on his own merits. But the casual dismissiveness of how Drew said daddy's legacy and the implication that Dusty's accomplishments were somehow being used as a crutch by Cody hit a nerve that nobody realized was so exposed. Cody's reaction was immediate and visible. According to everyone who was present, his entire demeanor changed in an instant. The charismatic confidence that defines the American Nightmare disappeared, replaced by something cold and dangerous. Cody stepped closer to Drew, and his voice dropped to a tone that made everyone uncomfortable. "What did you just say about my father?" Cody asked, giving Drew a chance to walk back the comment or clarify that he didn't mean disrespect. Drew, apparently not recognizing how seriously he'd miscalculated, doubled down. "I said your whole career is built on your daddy's name. You're not the American dream, you're the American nepotism baby who gets opportunities because your last name is Rhodes, not because you've actually earned anything." That was the moment Cody Rhodes decided that professional boundaries and heroic principles were less important than making Drew McIntyre suffer for disrespecting Dusty's memory and legacy. The assault happened hours later during SmackDown's main event segment. Cody's match had just concluded successfully, and he was celebrating with the crowd in what should have been a triumphant moment showcasing WWE's top babyface connecting with fans. Then Drew McIntyre's music hit, and the Scottish Warrior appeared on the entrance ramp with a microphone, apparently planning to continue their war of words and build toward their match. But Cody didn't wait for Drew to speak or even to enter the ring. The American Nightmare rolled out of the ring and charged up the ramp with an intensity that immediately signaled this wasn't going to be a standard confrontation. Drew barely had time to react before Cody was on him with strikes that were far stiffer and more aggressive than anything in their usual professional repertoire. What followed was one of the most one-sided and brutal beatdowns in recent SmackDown history. Cody wasn't wrestling Drew or even brawling with him in the typical back-and-forth exchange of offense. He was systematically attacking him with the clear intention of causing pain and damage. Cody drove Drew's head into the steel entrance ramp repeatedly, delivered stiff kicks to Drew's ribs and back while he was down, and used the ring steps as a weapon in ways that looked genuinely dangerous rather than safely choreographed. The crowd's reaction shifted from excitement to genuine concern as it became clear this had crossed from entertaining violence into something that felt uncomfortably real. But the most disturbing moment came when Cody locked Drew in a submission hold and leaned in close to say something that the cameras didn't pick up but that witnesses report was a message about Dusty and about consequences for disrespect. Drew's face showed not just pain from the hold but genuine fear about whether Cody was going to release it or keep wrenching until something broke. Referees and officials rushed to separate them, but Cody physically threw off the first wave of people trying to intervene. It took multiple wrestlers coming from the back, people who Cody actually respects and trusts, to finally convince him to release Drew and step away. Even then, Cody's expression showed no remorse, no concern about having gone too far, just cold satisfaction that he'd delivered the message he intended. Drew was helped backstage by medical personnel, legitimately hurt from the assault in ways that go beyond normal wrestling wear and tear. Preliminary reports suggest bruising, potential rib damage, and a concussion evaluation being necessary because of how aggressively Cody had targeted his head against the steel ramp. The immediate backstage reaction was chaotic. Some wrestlers were furious at Cody for working that stiff and potentially injuring a colleague. Others privately told Cody they understood why he did it and that Drew had it coming for crossing the line about Dusty. WWE officials were caught between wanting to discipline Cody for going off script and recognizing that the segment generated massive attention and perfectly positioned their babyface champion as someone who has real emotions and real limits. Triple H reportedly had a private conversation with Cody where he expressed concern about the level of violence and the potential for real injury, but also acknowledged that authenticity and genuine emotion is what modern audiences crave. The message seemed to be, "We understand why you did it, but you can't make a habit of this kind of intensity." Cody's response to management's concerns was reportedly simple: "Nobody talks about my father like that. Nobody. And if that means I'm not the perfect babyface hero anymore, then so be it. There are lines that don't get crossed, and Drew learned what happens when you cross them." Now here's the question that's going to determine how you view Cody's actions. Was Cody justified in brutally assaulting Drew McIntyre because Drew disrespected Dusty Rhodes' legacy, or should Cody have handled the situation professionally regardless of how personal the insult was? Your answer reveals whether you believe there are some insults that justify physical retaliation, or whether professionals should always maintain control regardless of provocation. Here's the even more controversial question: does Cody's assault make him more interesting and authentic as a character, or has he damaged his heroic image by showing he's capable of losing control and working dangerously when his emotions are triggered? Because there's a legitimate argument that seeing Cody have real human limits and real breaking points makes him more relatable and compelling than a perfect hero who never gets genuinely angry. But there's also a case that WWE's top babyface can't be someone who responds to words with disproportionate violence. Tell me in the comments, do you respect Cody more for defending his father's legacy with such intensity, or are you concerned that he crossed professional boundaries that shouldn't be crossed? And here's what I really want to know: if you were in Cody's position and someone disrespected your parents' memory the way Drew disrespected Dusty, would you be able to maintain professional composure, or would you snap like Cody did? Cody Rhodes destroying Drew McIntyre in a brutal assault at WWE Smackdown wasn't just shocking violence, it was a character-defining moment that revealed the American Nightmare has limits and lines that can't be crossed without severe consequences. The methodical, controlled brutality Cody displayed showed this wasn't loss of control but deliberate choice to prioritize defending his father's honor over maintaining his heroic image. Whether this makes Cody a more interesting and human character or damages his position as WWE's moral center is something that will be debated throughout this feud. But what's undeniable is that Cody Rhodes proved he's not the perfect hero who turns the other cheek. He's someone with real emotions, real limits, and real capacity for violence when someone crosses lines that matter to him personally. Drew McIntyre learned the hardest possible lesson about knowing your opponent's pressure points, and the question now is whether their upcoming match will be a professional wrestling contest or a genuine fight between two men where only one walks away intact.